Welcome to Ask the Experts, presented by Salinas Valley Memorial Healthcare System. I'm Claudia Otero. Joining me today is Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital Executive Chef and Director of Nutrition Services, Chef Jason Giles. Thank you for being here today. Welcome.
Thanks, Claudia. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're excited, and you are throwing this fabulous holiday feast. It's going to be healthy, super delicious, and very colorful from what I see.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What are you making?
We're going to make a roasted pork tenderloin today, and we're going to serve that with some wild mushrooms and have this beautiful medley of vegetables to go with it, and serve it with a little bit of toasted brown rice as well.
Well, it sounds delicious. I will let you to it.
Thanks, Claudia. Appreciate it. Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. And as Claudia mentioned, we're going to throw together a different version of a holiday meal for you guys. The idea today is to get away from the traditional turkey and maybe the traditional roast beef and pull out pork tenderloin, which is a fantastic meat protein to use, and it's very lean and it's very easy to work with. It's available at just about any store that you go to. So we're going to actually start off with a few things. I'm going to get some burners turned on, and then we're going to go through the process, and we're going to marinate the meat real quick and sear it off and follow along and have fun. I believe we'll be posting some recipes to go along with this, and I encourage you guys to just have fun and be creative and really delve into the kitchen and experience all that we have available to us here on this Monterey Peninsula and embrace it and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun to work with. So as I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and light the burners up. So we're going to start the pork off on a pretty high heat. We want to have almost to the smoke point on our pan so that we get a nice sear on the pork, and we'll go from there. And then also at the same time, I'm going to turn the heat on a little bit lower heat, but we're going to get the sauce started as well because that takes a little bit of time. So this is our pork tenderloin here. So it's trimmed. It comes out of the package, as you can see. It's important to remember there's a difference between pork tenderloin and pork loin. So pork loin is your traditional loin of pork that you would see like pork chops come from or something like that. This is the tenderloin, so it's a much tender cut of meat that comes off the side of the loin. And I recommend that you make sure you look for that at your store or local butcher to be able to find what you're looking for with that one. I'm going to throw some gloves on here real quick. And we're going to put a quick marinade on this. I'm going to put a little bit of salt on it, let the salt sit in for just a second. And then we're going to do a mix of here. I have some smoked paprika. I have some nice wildflower honey and some Dijon mustard. And we're going to use those as our marinade for the pork today. So to start off with, we're going to take a little bit of kosher salt and just sprinkle it on the pork. Make sure we get a nice coating all the way around the whole thing. Okay, we're going to let that soak in for just a second here. And with the pork, there is a little bit of silver skin on it. When you take it out of the package, there's a little bit of trim that I did on this here. You don't have to take that off. When you cook it, that'll soften up and eat well when you're doing it. Or if you want to take it off, you can, whichever you prefer. I'm going to go with the paprika first. The reason why I do the paprika first is I don't want it to burn on the outside. I want it to, if I put it on the outside of the marinade after I put the mustard and the honey on there, it's gonna burn on me in my pan. So it's gonna get a little bit off taste that I'm not looking for. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mix together some Dijon mustard. I'm just gonna smear that on there. This doesn't have to be, it's not complicated. It's just put it on there. I use Dijon mustard because it's got a really nice tang to it and a good flavor, and it goes really, really well with the pork. So again, all sides, I'm going to make sure I coat all sides with the mustard here. And then honey is going to go on just to give us a nice glaze on it. And it will be careful with it because it will like to char on you pretty fast. But again, I'm just going to do a little drizzle of honey on here. And then use my spatula here to spread it around. And again, I want to make sure I get all sides on this part. Usually you don't see a lot of sweet, like sugar or things like that put on meat, but sometimes when you have a roast that you want to get a nice golden brown dark color on it, the honey really helps, and it helps also flavor the meat for you. So that is our quick marinade for the pork. I'm going to pull these off back here. And then as you can see here on our pan, it's kind of hitting that smoke point. So I'm going to hit it with some olive oil, just a little bit. Again, this helps from our pork from sticking too bad. And then we're going to go ahead and sear the pork. All right. So as that's searing, give it some time. It's going to be probably about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes on each side. You want to give it time to get a nice sear. So while that's doing its work, we're going to switch gears and move over here to our sauce, which is a gastrique sauce. So a gastrique sauce is a sauce that has a high vinegar point to it and some sweetness to it. And it's fun. It's away from a traditional cream sauce or heavy sauce. This is going to be lower in calorie, and it's going to have a really nice bright flavor that's really going to lend itself really well to the pork. So on this, I have a medium high heat to start off with, and you'll watch me. I'm going to turn the heat down really fast, and we're gonna cook the sauce down, let it simmer down. So on this one, I have 3 main ingredients that are going to go into it. I have it's going to be a port reduction, so I have some red reserve port here to go in here, and a little bit of dark balsamic vinegar. And then we're going to throw some shallots in there as well to give it a little bit of texture. So as you can tell, the pot's nice and warm. That's getting us a nice reduction here. So as this is going now, I'm going to move this to the back so I can work on the vegetables up here as well. So I have a burner in the back that I'm going to turn on pretty low heat because this is going to simmer for about 5 minutes. We're going to put it back here and let it reduce down for us. We'll keep an eye on that as we're going here. So the pork here is about ready to give a turn on it. We should have a nice dark golden color on it. Wow, it looks beautiful. Nice, good sear on there. All right. So as the pork continues to cook here, I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit. We're gonna baste it with some fresh herbs and a little bit of olive oil and butter. So if you do this, if you throw these ingredients in when you first get the pan and it's really hot, you're gonna scorch them and it's not gonna taste very good. So at this point, the natural cooling down of the process of putting the pork in, and I've turned the heat down a little bit, it's gonna be optimum for us to be able to put in our fresh herbs and our garlic. So at this point, I'm gonna take some whole garlic cloves. I'm just gonna give them a quick crush or chop real quick, not to chop them fine, but I just wanna make sure that aromatics come out of it. So I'm just gonna give it a little pop there on each one. And then those are gonna go right into our pot here. Okay. And then we're gonna throw in some fresh herbs. So the herbs we have today is we have some thyme, some sage, and a little bit of rosemary. And again, like I said, these are aromatics, right? So if you were here with us today, you could really start to smell these garlic and the herbs start to really perfume into your kitchen. And it's a fantastic thing to invite people into your kitchen when you're cooking, because they're going to smell that and they're going to naturally come in and see what you're doing. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil at this point, and then a couple of little teaspoons of butter. All right, so at this point, we're gonna keep an eye on it, and we're gonna baste this. We're gonna use our spoon that we use for our butter, and we're gonna find some oil, the drippings that are coming off of it, and we're gonna baste it over the top of the pork. And what we're doing is we're infusing that flavor, that scented oil with the herbs and the garlic right into our pork here. Okay? We're gonna do that a couple of times. We're gonna go ahead and give our pork a turn here. So when you're cooking pork, recommendation is that you cook it to 150 degrees. So if you have a thermometer at home, make sure you temp it, put it into the solid part of the muscle, and you can temp that out and make sure you get it to 150 degrees. And it's going to rest, which is a super important part of cooking any protein, any meat. If it's a turkey, a chicken, if it's a steak or whatever, resting the meat allows the muscles to relax after you cook it, and the moisture to come back in and really give you a nice, juicy, flavorful piece of meat. So now that we've got that going, I'm going to get the vegetables started. Here we're going to get a pan going. Again, nice and warm. So we're going to saute off our more firm vegetables. So when you're cooking vegetables, it's important to understand that you have different textures of vegetables. So today we have turnips and Brussels sprouts and some heirloom carrots, and then we have some beautiful purple cauliflower and some fennel, and they're all fantastic, and they come as individuals, but they also come together really well. So we have to cook them at different times, though. The turnips and the Brussels sprouts and the carrots are going to take longer than the fennel and the cauliflower are going to take to get cooked for us. So as we're going, we're going to start off with those three and then add in the other vegetables as we're going along the process. So I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to keep basting my pork loin here. And again, what we're doing here is we're just imparting this flavor of these beautiful herbs and garlic that we've added into here. And as we're cooking as well, we're going to just continue to keep turning the pork, give it equal cooking on all sides. All right. So in our pan here for our vegetables today, we're going to use a little bit of olive oil. And in cooking, I recommend a good flavored olive oil, one that you like to use that isn't necessarily extra virgin, because the extra virgin parts of it could give you a little bit of burnt flavor if the pot gets too hot. So in this case, we're using just a traditional olive oil for what we're doing. And I'm going to add in my turnips, my Brussels sprouts, and my carrots, and let them start to roast off and get nice and golden brown. And you can use other vegetables as well. If you have a flavor for rutabagas, or for you can even use green beans in this dish. You can use some golden beets would be fantastic as well. Use what you like and what your family likes, but encourage them also to try new things. All these different vegetables have fantastic healthy qualities for us when we're eating, and they add terrific texture and flavor to what we're doing. All right. So the pork's looking really good here. Give it another quick baste here. And one more quick turn, and then I'm going to pull it off and let it rest for us here. So we'll leave the pork here. So I do have a sheet of aluminum foil that I recommend you use at home. It's a great way to keep wandering hands off the product that you're working with, but also it helps slow the process down of it resting. Okay, so don't want to cover it tight in foil, but you're just going to make like a little teepee, put it over the top, and just drape it over there so it keeps it warm, but it allows a lot of the intense heat to come off and to not keep it cooking quite as much. Okay, so as you can see, our gastrique sauce, it has reduced down quite a bit. It's a beautiful kind of syrup-like texture, and that comes from the sugars and the sweetness that comes out of the port, and also the sugars and sweetness that are in the balsamic vinegar. So then, at this point, I'm going to finish off the sauce so it's ready to go. And we're going to, because it's complementing the pork that we're doing, I'm going to add a little bit of mustard and a little bit of honey to this gastrique to finish it off. So just a little bit of mustard and a little bit of honey. And then we're going to put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil into it here at the very end. Use our spoon here, give that a nice stir. Check our vegetables here. Getting a nice roasted color on them. So when you're cooking your Brussels sprouts, you want to see how it's getting nice and toasty on there. That's what you're looking for. You're looking to give it some color. It's going to make them nice and tender, add a great flavor to what you're working on. You're going to cook these for about 4 to 5 minutes, I think was probably what a good time is for the first batch of these vegetables here. And then before I forget, I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh thyme to our gastrique sauce. I'm gonna put the herbs and the fresh herbs at the end because I don't want them to scorch and burn as I'm reducing the sauce down. And we want to make sure we get a nice bright flavor out of that. All right. So our next, the next thing we're going to work on, move the sauce back here, get it out of our cooking area. All right. So these are looking really good here. All right, so next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna throw in our other vegetables. We're gonna throw in our fennel and our purple cauliflower, and we're gonna throw in some shallots here. These are our shallots that we've just quartered, peeled and quartered. They're gonna give us a really nice, sweet, aromatic flavor to add into what we're working on. Okay. Again, I'm going to pinch of salt and pepper. Okay. And then at this point, I'm going to add a little bit of garlic. This is minced garlic. And just because it's a holidays, I'm going to add a little bit of butter to the vegetables. Not a lot. Don't need a lot of butter. Just a little bit. Another little touch of olive oil. And I'm going to give them just a splash of vegetable stock. And the reason why I'm going to do that is I want them to steam the vegetables a little bit. Help give us a nice, gentle texture. All right, so we're going to cook these vegetables here once we've added the cauliflower and the fennel and stuff for about another 4 or 5 minutes. And it's in the process, we're gonna, as the meat's resting, it's been resting for about 5 minutes, and now we're working on the vegetables. And the last thing we're gonna do for the entree here is we're gonna put together a quick brown rice dish. So brown rice is a great alternative to traditional starches that you might serve. Better than white rice. It's got healthier features to it. And so I recommend finding out a recipe of brown rice that you like and trying it out. So today we've pre-cooked our brown rice for the sake of time, but and I would recommend doing this at home. This is a great way to expedite cooking at home. So if you don't have to wait until do everything last minute, your life's going to be a lot easier to be able to flow through. And if you have company over, you're going to definitely want to be enjoying their company and talking with them. So this is a great way to expedite your service. So we're going to put that over low heat, let that warm up. And then I'm going to get the pan ready. Our cast iron pan that we cooked our pork in is going to be the best dish for us to be able to saute off our mushrooms that are going to go with this dish. So I'm going to get that ready to go over here. I'm going to take out the herbs and the garlic that we had in the bottom, but I'm going to leave all the other little bits and tasty things in the bottom because it's going to really help add flavor to our mushrooms. And we'll get that going here in just a second. All right, so for our rice, as we're getting it going here and the pan's getting warmed up, we're gonna again put just a touch of olive oil. This is about a half a teaspoon. It doesn't take a whole lot on this one. And then we're gonna use just a little bit of butter. Again, maybe about a teaspoon of butter. And then our cooked brown rice, we're going to add that into our dish here. And we're just going to hear it start to sizzle a little bit, and that's our cue that it's probably warm enough. We don't want to burn the rice to the bottom of the pan, so we're just going to hear a little bit of sizzle. And then on this one, we're going to add in some oregano and some thyme, and a little bit of lemon juice. The lemon juice just adds a little bit of acidity to the dish, to the rice, and helps complement all the other flavors that we're working on with the flavors of the dish, with the pork and the vegetables and the fennel and all those good things. Those flavors really come well together. A little pinch of salt and pepper. And then for this one, just to help bloom it back out, we're going to again add just a little splash of vegetable stock. Give that a quick stir, and then throw the lid on it and let it heat up real gently. We're going to take it off the heat actually even, and just let it heat up real gently. You want to make sure you don't overcook the rice and you keep a nice loose kernel on the rice dish as you're ready to go here. So as those are sitting there just gently warming up, we're going to pull it off and throw the lid on it back here. And hold that for when we plate up. And then back on this burner is going to go the cast iron pan for the mushrooms. All right. Okay, so as this is warming up, these are going to be our mushrooms that we're going to use. Mushrooms are really prevalent in the fall and this time of year, so I recommend you go to your favorite grocery store like Whole Foods or Safeway or someplace that has open mushrooms. You don't want to buy just the packaged ones. You want to get some different varieties. Like we have king trumpets and cinnamon caps, and we have some oyster mushrooms, and they really bring a lot to the dish, and they have different flavors and textures that you're going to get out of those mushrooms. We're going to sprinkle a little olive oil in the pan, and we're going to take our larger, these are called king oyster mushrooms, and we're going to use them. We're going to actually put them face down and get them browned off a little bit on here. Give them a little bit of caramelization on there to give it some flavor. We're going to let those cook for just a moment. And we're going to prepare ourselves to plate up this wonderful, wonderful dinner that we're putting together. So the vegetables, as you can see, you've got the turnips and the Brussels sprouts, and they've got some really nice color, and the natural colors of the cauliflowers come out. And the fennel's very aromatic. It's got an absolutely fantastic aroma to it. So, like I said, I really recommend using some fun vegetables that are available to you out there. Be willing to try something different. Be willing to kind of break out of the norm and not just eat white cauliflower and peas out of the freezer. You want to be able to try something different and have some fun with it. So, my encouragement is to try new things always. My kids don't always like that, but I always encourage them to try new things. So as our mushrooms are caramelized off, these king oysters, I'm going to move them off to the side. Then in the center of the pan, I'm going to add in some of our other mushrooms that we have prepared here. And we're going to add a little nosh of butter. Again, a little sprinkle of salt and pepper. And for this one, I'm going to use, again, a little bit of chopped garlic. And some chopped shallots. Added a shallot accidentally, a whole one. Okay, so we're gonna let those cook. So our pork's been resting here now for about 10 minutes. As you can see, a little bit of the juice has come out, but we don't have a big pool of juice on there. We're really looking for those juices to absorb gently right back into the pork to give us a really nice, juicy, moist protein there for our dish here tonight. All right. And then for our plating, so real quick, right? This is our rice dish again. So it's you can see it's really gently warmed up. It's nice to see. We're gonna have some chopped chives. We're gonna add back in here, really just for color and to make it really pop on the plate, give it some little bit of contrast to what we've got going on. Gently stir that in. Do a little bit of our rice. Okay. Mushrooms we're going to go ahead and turn off. They've got just an amazing aroma to them and smell absolutely fantastic. We're going to place our mushrooms. We're going to actually do the mushrooms underneath the pork. So we're going to just do some of our mushrooms on here. And then, of course, our beautiful vegetable medley that we have going on here just adds great flavor and texture and aroma. All the things you're looking for on a beautiful holiday fall dish like we would be getting this one out this time of year. And then lastly, or not lastly, we got the sauce as well, but we have our beautiful pork tenderloin, well rested. And then lastly is our Gastrique Sauce. Right over the pork there. If you have your fennel florons, you don't want to waste anything, so you can always use those as a little bit of garnish here on the plate. These are just the trimmings of the fennel on the top of it when we were preparing it for our dish tonight. And there is a fun traditional holiday seasonal vegetable dish, but using pork tenderloin as your protein. So I encourage you guys to have fun and try different things in the kitchen and broaden your horizons on the different opportunities that you have to be able to cook some really fun and different things. So enjoy for your entree. So when you're done with your entree, it's not the end of the meal, right? My kids will always tell you that you gotta have dessert, otherwise it's not a whole meal. So lastly, we're gonna throw together a real quick winter fruit trifle. And it's really simple. It's something that it's, again, supposed to be thrown together so that you can enjoy your company, enjoy the time with your family, and not slave away in the kitchen the whole time. So real quick, we just get out some glasses, some clear glasses. You can either have a rocks glass, or if you have a fancy tulip glass, you can use something like that as well. And then we have some whipped cream. Okay, a little bit of fresh fruit. So this time of year, we're seeing, this is when citrus really becomes popular and prevalent. So we have tangerines or clementines, some blood oranges. We have some navel orange segments, as well as some ruby red grapefruit segments. And then at your local market, you can find some fresh, soft ladyfinger cookies, or you can use angel food cake, or you can even make a white cake or yellow cake and cut it up and put it in yourself. And like I said, this doesn't need to be complicated. It's just meant to have great flavors and great textures. You put a little bit of whipped cream in the bottom of your cup. And then you just spend a few minutes layering in your flavors. So you put in some different fruits in there. I like to make sure I get the fruit on the edges of the dish so you can see the colors. A little layer of whipped cream. And then you maybe take a cookie or two. Just like this, the ladyfinger cookies or yellow cake, you throw it in there. Give it a little push down. Again, a little bit more whipped cream. You got your grapefruit here, your navel oranges. Another little dollop of whipped cream. And then maybe just one cookie on top, just to give it a little bit of texture here. Something like that. So again, when you're cooking with friends and family, keep it simple, have fun with it. And of course, always have a good time when you're in the kitchen.
Wow, Chef, that looks fantastic. I think you had a lot of fun making that for us today. I mean, really a beautiful presentation. And we do want to point out that this is a nice option for lean protein.
Absolutely. Pork is a great option for lean protein. It's one of the firmer textured steaks that you can have that's very lean. It's a great protein to substitute for a steak or other meats. Absolutely.
No, that's great to know. And also, those vegetables are locally grown and seasonal.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, look at that plate. It's absolutely beautiful. You almost don't want to eat it.
Well, you don't want to have that excuse. You want to eat it, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, really, I wish you could all smell how wonderful it and just how it looks. And then, of course, the dessert. I mean, healthy, colorful.
Yeah, and easy,
fun.
simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just keep it simple. Let the flavors speak for themselves.
And in fact, while mom or dad or whoever is making dinner, I mean, maybe the kids are working on dessert, right? So it becomes a family affair.
Absolutely. Share the efforts, right?
Yeah,
that's good. I like that.
There we go. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It is fantastic. We hope that you can actually make this feast delicious. I mean, I can't wait to taste it. It's colorful, healthy. Hopefully you can enjoy it during the holiday season with your family, your friends. And we wish you happy holidays, and of course, be safe. Thank you so much, Chef, for being here.
Thanks for having me, Claudia.
First, we really appreciate you teaching us how to make this dish. And this video will remain on this Facebook page, so please like it, share it. We appreciate it. Happy holidays, Happy New Year.